Hey friends, and welcome back to my corner of the internet. If you haven't seen my last couple videos, I'm pregnant. And today I wanted to just kind of talk about how I got pregnant with PCOS. If you have PCOS and you clicked on this video because you want to learn some information, I'm not a professional. I'm just going to talk about my experience with the type of PCOS that I have and what did help me get pregnant. So again, I'm not a professional, but maybe you could talk to your doctor about some of these things and figure out what would work for you. I think that this video is really important because it is a big part of who I am, how my body works, and how my fertility journey was and how I was able to get pregnant. I feel like I did get pregnant pretty fast, and it just happened a lot quicker and easier than I was ever expecting. I found out that I had PCOS when I was 16 years old, and the only thing the doctor really told me was that this means that basically you have infertility problems. And at 16, you're not trying to get pregnant, and it's just kind of what, you know? And that's not all PCOS is. This doctor did not inform me about what this was for my body. Didn't educate me very well. She handed me a pamphlet, and all the pamphlet really talked about was that I had cysts on my ovaries and that it would probably be really hard for me to get pregnant. That's all it really said. And my mom didn't, never had it or anything, so she couldn't really inform me about it. And I never really looked into it and tried to get help and stuff like that, or educate myself about it until I was an adult and when I was in college. I have really irregular periods, which is obviously unhealthy for your body. I would have periods maybe every 6 months, every 5 months. Well, I went the reason I found out when I was 16 is because I went a whole year without one, and my mom was like, that's not healthy. So we went to the doctor, and that's when I found out that I had that. So my periods have always been extremely irregular, and the older that I got, it seemed like the bigger the stretches were getting. My body was changing a lot, and I was gaining a lot of weight, and I was not understanding how to take care of my body properly. So that brings me up to now, which is when I graduated college. My husband got a good enough job where I had good health insurance, and I could finally go see an OBGYN and get help with my body. Now, I just want to say that me and my husband got married 2.5 years ago, and so before I was able to go to the OB and stuff, when we got married, we decided to not prevent pregnancy. We were just kind of if it happens, it happens. We're open to whatever the world and God has in store for us. So we were just kind of if it happens, it happens. So we weren't necessarily tracking ovulation and tracking this and tracking that. We were just letting whatever happen. And so we did that for about 2 years. We did that for about 1.5 years, and I never got a positive pregnancy test. I never got anything. And so I started wanting to research more, and from what I was reading on Google and support groups, Facebook groups and stuff, what I was able to comprehend and maybe understand is that my body's probably not ovulating on its own. So that was what I was kind of assuming, or at least it wasn't ovulating regularly, because I wasn't even having a regular period. So of course, because usually you have your period and then you ovulate, obviously. I wasn't even having a period, so my body wasn't ovulating. Hope that makes sense. And so I was able to go to an OBGYN, and she was incredible and amazing, and she just really laid it out for me and explained it, and we did all these tests to figure out what kind I have. I think that there are 4 different kinds of PCOS, if I'm not mistaken. If I am, I'm sorry. Again, I'm not a professional. I have the insulin resistant kind, so that's what I'm going to be talking about in this video, and how I had to do stuff for my body with that. So if you have a different kind, you might still learn something from this video, I'm not sure. I just don't know anything or much about any other kind. So because I'm insulin resistant, my doctor told me to cut gluten and dairy out of my diet because my body doesn't process sugar correctly because I'm insulin resistant. And so that was a big thing. I was already, side note, let's pause for a second. In January, I started doing Weight Watchers with my husband. At the time, that was kind of working. I was losing weight really slowly. With Weight Watchers, it's kind of portion control, and you can kind of eat whatever you want, but you just have to portion it correctly, which was working for us. And I was losing weight really slowly. When you have PCOS, you don't lose weight really fast, which I know a healthy way of losing weight when you're losing weight, just working out and eating healthy. You don't shred pounds super quickly. That's not healthy. That's not a good way to lose weight. So I'm not necessarily saying that. I think I'm trying to say, like, I was losing it really slowly. Like, I was barely losing a pound a week, but I was shedding a little bit. So I was trying to kind of lose weight and get a little bit healthier because I had gained so much weight in college, which I learned was because I was insulin resistant and my body doesn't process sugar correctly, and so I needed to cut gluten and dairy out of my diet. So like carbs and the sugar and all of that, my body doesn't process it correctly. It holds on to it because I'm insulin resistant, and that's why I gain weight so quickly and why it's so hard to shed weight, because my body feels like it needs to hold on to those things because I'm insulin resistant. So anyways, my doctor told me to cut gluten and dairy out of my diet, and so I did, and I started losing weight quicker. I was still on Weight Watchers. I was just also not eating gluten and dairy, and boy, I just lost weight so quickly. In about 5 months, I lost 40 pounds. So I was able to lose 40 pounds. And then when I went back to the doctor for like a checkup, and she just wanted to know how like my diet was going and stuff, we talked about medication. And we talked about like, did I want to get on birth control or what? Because I needed something to help regulate my hormones and help also regulate the insulin resistant and stuff. So I think that I went and saw her, and she said, here's your options for medication. Go home and talk to your husband, and also just try to get on this diet. And so that's what I did, and I came back like a week or two later, and we decided on doing metformin, which is kind of like the opposite of birth control. It's supposed to help you ovulate, but it's also, metformin is used for diabetics. So it can be used for diabetics because they're insulin resistant. So like, I'm not diabetic. I don't have to like prick myself and do all that, but I am insulin resistant, so that medicine helps with that and helps regulate that. And it also was supposed to help regulate my hormones and help me and encourage me to have a period and ovulate. So before I got on metformin, as I started losing weight, I started to get my period back. So it was like the more weight I lost, the more regular my period was, which was kind of strange because like in high school and stuff, middle school, high school, my period was really irregular, and I was definitely not as heavy as I was in college. So it was interesting to see that like I lost 15-20 pounds and my period started to come back. That was just interesting to me. I didn't expect it to come back so quickly or as like full force, and it wasn't coming back every single month. It was probably like once every 3 months, which was still a lot more regular than it was. I mean, I was really having it every 6 months to a year. So having it every 3 months was like crazy, and then I started having it every other month, almost to the day. I could almost like, I just knew exactly what day it was going to happen, which was crazy because that's like my whole life I've never had a period like that. So that was crazy. And then when I got on the metformin, it helped even more, and the metformin also helped me with my weight loss. So I was able to hit the 40-pound mark, and so far, like right now, and it's August. So in August, I started in January, it's August, I've only lost like 42 pounds. So overall, I've lost 40 pounds. I think that I hit around 40 in May, and then I found out I was pregnant and I had to stop Weight Watchers. And since I've been pregnant, I kind of just eat whatever my body feels like eating. You know, when you're like nauseous and you're in your first trimester, you don't feel that great. It's just easier for me to just eat what my body's allowing me to eat. So like I haven't cut out. I've kind of been eating a little bit more gluten and dairy. I'm still careful. I don't eat like a lot of it, but if my body wants it, I give it to it. I give that to it because I'm pregnant, and it's so hard to just find something that tastes good. So anyway, sorry, I got off track a little bit, but I've lost 40 pounds, and my weight has stayed about the same since I got pregnant. I haven't really gained any weight or lost any weight. I've just been around the same weight that I have been as right when I got pregnant. So anyways, whenever I started metformin, again, me and my husband decided not to like track my ovulation or like be super like anal about it. We didn't want to be like super obsessed with we want to get pregnant, because I felt like for my mental health, I have anxiety, and I just felt like it would just get too much and it would be overwhelming, and if I kept getting negative tests, it would just be too much for me. And so we decided that even though we started the metformin, it wasn't just to get pregnant. Like, we did start the medicine, but it was also to help me get healthy and regulate my body. So even though we knew there was a way higher chance to get pregnant on it, we weren't necessarily taking it just to get pregnant. It was also just for me and my health. So Just putting that out there. Then I think that's why we were so surprised when we actually got pregnant so quickly, because we just didn't expect, even though I was on the medication and I knew it was going to help me ovulate, I just still wasn't expecting to get pregnant so quickly, because we had been kind of just like, if it happens, it happens, for like almost 2 years, and nothing ever happened. So I just really didn't expect it to happen that fast. I started metformin in March, and I got pregnant in May, which I found out in June, but I got pregnant in May. So I was on it for 3 months, and in those 3 months I had 2 periods. I don't know how much I ovulated because I did not track that. That is just like, was too stressful for us. We decided not to do that, and I was able to get pregnant. So that's crazy. And on my support groups, I heard a lot of people say like, yeah, I got on metformin, I got pregnant in 3 months. I got on metformin, I got pregnant in 6 months. I got on metformin and I got pregnant in 9 months. So like, I had heard stories about people getting pregnant really quickly, but I really didn't expect that to be my story. I really thought it would take a lot more help from like the doctor, or like a little bit more fertility treatment to get pregnant, but that's just not my story. I got pregnant really quickly on metformin. So if you have PCOS, I encourage you to go to your doctor and ask questions. Please don't be afraid to ask questions. There were so many things that I needed to know, and I felt kind of stupid because I'm like, gosh, I'm 23, and I've known about having PCOS since I was 16, and I just feel like I don't know that much about my body, and I never really like cared. I mean, when I was younger, it was just kind of like, I'm glad I'm not having a period because it's painful and it makes you feel gross, and I was just kind of like, cool, I don't have a period. I never really like cared about learning about my body and like what was supposed to make me healthy. And so as I got older, I was like, I want to be healthy. So go to your doctor, ask those questions. Even if you think it's a stupid question, ask it. It's so important to just learn about your body and what your body needs. Figure out which of the 4 I think it's 4. Figure out which of the PCOSs you have and what does that mean for your body. Like, for example, me, I needed to cut certain things out of my diet so that I could be more healthy. And it was never really about losing weight. And I did talk about this on my channel, that I was in the process of like losing weight, and I felt weird about it because I was really like body positive, and I had made like bathing suit videos on here about being plus size and stuff, and I felt really weird about talking about my weight loss. But it was never really like, I hate my body, I want to lose weight to look better. I was just on this journey of figuring out how to be healthier for me. So I was on this journey of figuring out my PCOS and figuring out I'm insulin resistant and this new diet that my doctor put me on. I started all of this just to get healthier because I do want to live a long life and I want to have children and stuff. And so I just knew that like we graduated college and we were ready to kind of like get into that stage. We definitely didn't think it would happen as quick as it did. I'm not saying that we were like super ready for this stage of life and we were just running into it and we were tracking all these things, we were trying so hard to make it happen. I was just kind of like preparing myself and my body for what was to come, and it just happened when it happened. And that's kind of the philosophy that we had since we got married anyways, was just let's just see what happens, let's just go with the flow. And so I did what my body needed and I didn't prevent anything, and here I am. So anyways, that's my story of how I got pregnant with PCOS. I thought it was a little bit more to explain than just like saying I got on metformin and I got pregnant, because I think losing weight had a big thing to do with it, and changing my diet had a lot to do with it. I think cutting out like gluten and dairy definitely played a big role in my weight loss and played a big role in my body regulating itself, because I wasn't giving it the bad things that it couldn't process. And I think that losing weight also helped me get my period back and helped me ovulate. Obviously, with the help of medicine, I was able to ovulate. And so I thought that it was just a little bit more complicated than to just say, yeah, I got on metformin. So I wanted to just make a video talking about my PCOS journey, I guess talking about my fertility journey, my health journey, and just kind of like wrap it all up in one present and explain it to you guys. Because if you're out there, there's not a lot of content and videos about PCOS. And if it is, sometimes it's hard to feel connected with those people, because it's just like doctors on YouTube trying to explain it, and those are very helpful. You do need to talk to your doctor. I'm not telling you that. But sometimes it just helps to find somebody and just listen to their personal experience and just feel connected with those people. At least that's how I feel. I'm always looking for people to just explain their experience and stuff, because then it makes me feel more comfortable. I'm like, okay, I'm not alone. This isn't just me. I'm not the only person having a hard time getting pregnant. I'm not the only person with PCOS or having to change my diet, because cutting out gluten is really hard, or cutting out dairy is really hard. I'm not gonna lie, it was a weird adjustment, but it did make me feel incredibly better cutting out those things, not giving my body the thing that it was having a hard time processing. Wow, I felt amazing. Yeah, that's my story, and I hope that it encourages you to learn more about your body and your PCOS, because my aunt said the other day on the phone, I was kind of explaining all this to her and talking to her, and she said, girl, I'm 40 years old and I'm still learning things about my body. And like, that's a good thing. You should always just be learning. Your body's constantly changing. Your hormones are constantly changing. There's just always something going on. And I think that we just need to keep educating ourselves about it. So I hope this encourages you to make an appointment with your doctor or your whatever, your healthcare provider, to ask questions and to just educate yourself. And if your doctor, I know I've heard stories, and I've had a doctor when I was a teenager that just said PCOS is just this one thing and just brushed it off, and it's not. There's a lot of symptoms that come along with PCOS. There's 4 different types. Like, there's so many things you need to know about your body. So if that's how your doctor is treating you, get a different doctor. You need a doctor that will treat you right and explain this stuff to you and really like just be amazing. So I really hope that all of you can find the right doctor and get the help that you need, so that we can all just be educated and as healthy as we can. So yeah, make sure you're subscribed, because I plan on posting more pregnancy videos in the future. So make sure you're subscribed, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Falling. Oh, I fought so hard.